This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to MELR0210. Put on your sunscreen and remain indoors, everybody, because this is our quarantine sideshow that we're doing to keep you sane and, more importantly, us sane while we enter week 45 of this quarantine.
Failure.
You know,
Failure.
I don't know if Melrose Place / 90210 podcast is a way to keep sane necessarily.
But
That's
you know
a good
what,
point.
dude? Have you ever been insanely horny? Because that's what this is doing.
So I am joined, my name is Steven Sadak. I am joined with the whole gang, Andrew Jupin, Chris Cabin,
Whoa.
and Eric Siska. We are talking
Steve.
about, this is Thursday, so we're talking about Melrose Place. This is episode 2, Friends and Lovers, Erotic. And it aired in July 15th in 1992, which does, I didn't do my math, my homework last time. So this show did premiere while, during Beverly Hills 902 would always do the summer, like a little summer season of like the kids fucking in the summer.
And you would get new episodes like in the middle of the summer?
Yes, this is July, dude. Yeah, because that's why I think Jake was around, and it's obviously tying into that, and the beach club is involved clearly.
Right.
So
Well,
this-
I think it's like what Steve Sanders makes some offhanded remark about the beach club.
exactly. You got to talk about that fucking beach club.
I like the original name of this episode. You're fucking friends. Everybody's fucking.
Everybody's fucking. So this episode also starts like the last one because it's poorly written with everyone waking up.
Dude, it is just a bit too much, I have to say.
Well, that's the thing is without the high school kind of structure of this show, of like what to do with characters, it's pretty clear early on they don't know what to do with anybody.
Absolutely. But you know what you can like try doing in your second episode is maybe have them start at a lunch break.
Yeah.
Like this starts with Allison just bitching about like, oh, my coffee's too strong, Billy. Like, fuck you, make your own then.
I guess they're trying to be like, when are people going to congregate at their home? Well, in the morning before they leave for the day, I guess is the idea. But the way this is all set up, it feels like a college quad, and it's like this should be a college show.
It does. It should be a college show, and it is very college, and I would move the fuck out. Because, again, like, I can't be dealing with neighbors, and I don't want people popping in and just kind of congregating outside of my home. Get out of here.
Yeah, right outside the front door is a big problem. And I'll say it's interesting because similarly in the sitcom world, you had things like Seinfeld and Friends where people were popping in during the week, like before breakfast, like before they would go to work. Like, you remember there'd be those episodes of Seinfeld where they're like talking and then it's like, well, I got to go to work. And I'm like, what fucking time is it? Or like everybody was always going over to Monica and Rachel's apartment for breakfast. And I'm like, what time are you assholes getting up in the morning?
Exactly. Well, better wake up at 5 a.m. so I can just casually have a large bowl of cereal at Monica's house.
You're just popping in at 6 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, at least here...
Shit. Sorry, I
What?
spilled seltzer. This is a
Oh,
problem.
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Okay, so we were talking about...
All this is bullshit, and I don't want to see anybody but my wife before fucking like 8 a.m.
Oh my God. I don't even want to see my cats before 8
Well,
o'clock in the
guys,
morning.
But, like-
remember, we're olden men at this point. And if you're young, sexy, how old are they supposed to be? I don't know.
That's the big question that's going to keep coming up, especially in fucking Jailbird Jake's fucking whatever.
Well,
Somewhere between 23 and 38.
yeah, there are
shit,
there
I
are
fit into
varying
that.
ages.
But like I will say this, Jake has a good reason to be getting out and getting angry in the squad, and Mike essentially abdicating his responsibilities.
This is an excuse just to have the shirtless, wet Jake. That's all this
yeah.
is. It's
I
just a
appreciate
wet
it.
argument.
I do appreciate that, and I hope they do more of it as the show continues.
There are, dude, listen, I will tell you right now, there are 7 seasons worth of wet arguing for this show, okay? It is not the last you've
so
seen.
This moment is Jake comes out of his place in just a towel, and he's furious that apparently the plumbing in the place, if anyone flushes the toilet in the entire complex, it'll like burn you in the shower type of thing.
And he freaks out, and Michael is like, what do you want from me? I'm also a doctor. And I'm like, yeah, dude, don't be both. Don't be a landlord and a fucking doctor.
Exactly. This arrangement is unnatural, Michael. And we need whatever the side thing is where Michael's like, all right, I'm going to admit to you right now, Mr. J is my uncle.
Yes.
And I'm indebted to him for whatever reason, and I have to fucking do this whole thing. Because otherwise, dude, give up the ghost. Let fucking Jake be the super.
I'm going to be honest with you. Mr. J is also me. It's my third job. I have third job. I'm a doctor. I manage this complex, and I own this complex.
I do not understand it. Like, again, Michael, I want to see their books. I want to see what is going into this house and what's coming out, because I think you don't need to be a super. I'm almost positive.
I'm pretty sure Jane can still work at the boutique, and your fucking doctor salary is more than enough.
Jake is unemployed. Fucking give him the job of the goddamn handyman.
I think they try to highlight this in some way here when the doctor, I don't know these character names, is talking with his lady friend there, and
Michael and Jane.
So Michael's talking to Jane, and Michael's saying how, like, oh, everyone's like bored at the hospital, and like some of the younger doctors are praying for a catastrophe. Very interesting thing to hear right now.
Yeah, dude, I will be honest, that line fucking chilled my bones. I was like, oh, you're bored, huh? How about all the patients in the world?
Exactly.
There is a fucking great line, though, where Michael's being a piece of shit, and Jake goes, you got a bad attitude, man. The delivery from Grant Show was quite fantastic. Right,
I love you've got a bad attitude, man. So he's like, yeah, Jake, I'll fucking fix it tomorrow after I do 2 heart surgeries, do my video store shift, and then come back and wait tables for a little while.
Whoops. Oh, I also have to talk to my wife and reminisce about the exact moment we fell in love. That's our story arc.
I have to blow this. So this dude blows it so bad. Because, Jane is it's the morning. She's being really nice. She's like, I remember when we first fell in love, and, I broke one of my heels, and you had a foot fetish, and you grabbed the other one and put it in your mouth.
You huffed it hard.
You picked up that shoe. You jammed your nose right into it.
Well, no, the thing is, they were at a party, a wild party, it seems. She broke her heel, and he's like, oh, I could fix that for you, and breaks the other heel. And she's like, oh, that's a cute line. And then I fell in love with you right away. When did you fall in love with me? And he's like,
Radio silence.
Come on, man.
It's like, dude, it's like you're on fucking Family Feud, man. You just need to say anything because the timer is running out.
The restaurant. What are you talking about? The restaurant, that's when it happened. It happened to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Which restaurant are you talking? The restaurant, that's the place that happened.
Exactly. I don't remember the name of the place, but you just looked so beautiful that night, and the light just hit you right. I don't even remember the name of the place because all I could think about was you, and you're out of this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. That song was playing. Oh, I don't remember which one.
But yeah, just like, come on, show me something.
You know what, Allison? Or you know what, Jane? At first I thought there was a beautiful song playing, but as it turned out, that sweet music was just the beating of your heart.
It's really creepy. Oh, yeah. Maybe he's a doctor with the stethoscope or whatever on her.
Oh, that's true.
Also,
a little cold.
We do get a timeline. They met 2 years ago, and they're already married. So I guess they used to be Amish. Is that how that works?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
Got it.
I don't know. At some point, she was knocked up.
It was Rumspringa, and he's an Amish doctor, so he doesn't know any modern medicine. It's just like setting bones with a piece of wood.
Well, I can cobble your high heels for you, English.
The thing is before he became a doctor, he was a detective, and he went to an Amish place to be to find the killers, and he fell in love with Jane, an Amish woman who had a boy, Lucas Haas.
Got it.
And he stayed there. She went away.
This is all much more interesting, by the way, because fucking Jane doesn't even make it to the boutique in this episode.
She does not. She just kind of pouts and is upset. I mean, and again, like, she's an incredibly good-looking woman, always wants to have sex with this dude, and this guy is just too tired from all of his jobs. That is him through and through until he becomes an evil psycho, I think, in season 2.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say though, just like I said last time, get used to Jane fucking sulking because that's the character.
Yeah, that's all she does.
And then we have over in, I guess, Allison and Billy's apartment. There's she's still freaking out about the situation with Hal from the pilot. She's worried that Hal is gonna fire her over the sexual harassment situation. And
Which they diffused that really quickly. I don't know if it's coming back or not, but it was just sort of like, why even bring it up again if it's just going to be so easily diffused?
well, yeah, and we could just like go through
Yes.
their. We can. I feel like the way to do this, by the way, guys, is just the threads. all
Yeah,
at
that's the way to
once.
make it work.
And the funny thing is that's pretty much Michael and Jane's fucking line, and then he thinks of something at the end of the episode to tell her, and then they fuck.
No, he's like, oh, I don't remember the first time I fell in love with you. I just remember loving you every day. Each day is so important. Every day, blah, blah, blah. And it takes him 3.5 days to come up with this answer.
That's the best he could do. 72 hours.
He had to like go on WikiHow on how to be married and like figure this shit out.
It's got pictures illustrating each moment. Like, this is you saying the nice thing, and it's got like a little drawing of a cartoon face talking.
He's calling his mother and he's like, "Mom, do you remember last Christmas when I brought Jane back? Did I do anything nice with her? Anything? Like I could use anything here, buddy."
Ever since I was kicked in the head by that horse, I don't have my memory's not so great.
Oh, back in Amish country, you got
Of
kicked in the head
course,
with
it
a
all,
horse, yeah.
it all stands.
So yeah, the thing with Allison and Hal is diffused immediately, and I don't believe they go back to it because she fucking goes in. She's like, "Hey Hal, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fucking call you out on this. I don't care if I get fired. I'm going ahead. Blah 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 blah." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, fine." And then some woman comes out, and she's like, "Oh, did you hear the good news? Hal's getting sued for sexual harassment by some other girl. He's going down."
I don't think they told the guy who played Hal that this was happening.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh man, seasoned villain, here I come."
Yeah, because he's acting like, "Yeah, go ahead and try to fucking sue me for sexual harassment. We'll see how that goes, honey." And then a minute later, oh, he's getting fired.
I mean, it must have been a thing where they were just like, you know what, we wrote this into the pilot, and now that we're picked up for a season here, there's nothing sexy about sexual harassment, and we want this to be a sexy show.
Yeah, that sounds
so
about right.
Well, let's just quickly course correct and get Hal out of here.
I'm looking him up now, Sherman Howard, to see if he comes back.
Oh,
Yeah, doing some math here, dude.
Does he do a Columbia necktie?
No, nope. That's it. It's 2 episodes and goodbye, Hal. I think this is probably like, obviously the pilot was the pilot, so like a lot of things change no matter what. So I think similarly with Billy. Billy is like in that first episode, I'm gonna be a dance instructor while I do my writing. But then they were like, oh, actually that sucks. We need to give him something else to do.
This is really bizarre that he just suddenly becomes a taxi driver out of nowhere. And now I've never seen the show, so does he get like a series of new jobs all the time, like a Homer Simpson type of thing?
I think he eventually becomes an actual writer of sorts.
Or doesn't he work? He
Works at an advertising agency. That's right.
Yeah, because it's I believe it's the one that Allison works for that Heather Locklear eventually.
That's exactly right. They all work in one big office.
Yeah.
All I know is that in the next episode, he takes Sybil Shepherd out to this really bad date.
No. Plenty of people bring people to these movies. No, it's fine. That fucking Swedish marriage sex porno thing that he brings her to, it's amazing. Go see Taxi Driver, kids.
It's a great movie.
It's out now. It's streaming.
It is certainly out now. So yeah, it's like he gets this job as a cab driver. Also, like kind of fast. Like I
Yes.
feel like with cab drivers like that, it takes a little while. He's like, yeah, I'm my own boss. I do this and that. And then immediately over the radio, it's like, hey, Rieger, you got to get that cab down to such and such. You got to pick. And I'm like, you're not your own
It's
boss,
the same
dude.
morning. It's like, oh man, that coffee was too strong. I wonder what job I can have. Better fucking become a cab driver and have my cab the same morning.
I'm a cab driver at Sexy Cab, where we only have sexy fucking fares.
Absolutely. And he makes a deal with Allison before they leave for, to start the day or whatever. She says she wants to paint the apartment. And he's like, all right, well, I'll... Oh, no, he goes to Allison's work.
Yes.
Because after this woman is like, oh, Hal is going to, go down for this or whatever. By the way, your cab is here. And she's like, what? And there's Billy like outside and he shows her the cab or whatever. And he gets a call to go pick somebody up. And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to paint the apartment, because he's like, oh, we should celebrate my job. And so she's going to get the paint. He says, I'll bring the beer.
I'm just going to interrupt you at work, by the way.
Yeah,
What an
seriously.
asshole.
You know
Fuck
what?
you.
We are
Billy?
roommates. I could barely get enough of you at home. I am
Exactly.
really okay.
Yeah. It's Billy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he goes, Danny DeVito radios him that he's got to go pick somebody up. And he goes and winds up finding Jensen Daggett is the actress's name. She was the lead in Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan.
She was the lead. she also she's such a 90s-esque actress. I think it's the curly hair that does it. You know what I mean? Like a real. She was in. I'm looking at this. Like she was in a couple episodes of The Single Guy, if you could believe it.
Oh,
man.
that totally checks
And when you
out.
see somebody that's like really similarly the same age and range as one of the lead characters in the second episode of a show, you know they auditioned for any of the lead characters and just didn't get it.
I think what we have here is a clear-cut case of Jensen Daggett guest starring on episode 2 of Melrose Place, having many of her scenes alongside Allison, the character she definitely auditioned for.
Yes, absolutely.
Look, she's just not as charming as Olivia Diabo, okay?
Yeah. So they hit it off like eerily, he's driving her and just talking about like LA and how great it is to live in LA or whatever. And then it's like, dude, this creepiest thing where she's like, you look like Bruce Springsteen. And he's like, oh, the boss? Really? You think I look like the boss? Oh, my goodness. And he's like, oh, I just saw the boss at the Coliseum a couple of years ago.
10th Avenue, please. Oh, 10th Avenue, please. Yeah, come on, sing with me.
The impression is like dead on.
It might be the meanest impression on this show, but this guy sucks anyway.
Oh, by the way, I just remembered there's a hidden joke in between all the taxi stuff. Is his car is 54.
Oh, yeah, that's for your dad,
shit.
dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Your dad who's stuck watching this because of your mom.
Andrew, can I ask you, do you remember if Elizabeth Shue ever shows up in this show?
That's a great question.
I don't know. Not that I saw. I can't be certain.
Yeah, her and Billy date.
Oh no, I'm infected with my sister.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Allison, I can't date you. I'm dating my sister currently. We're doing a pilot for Pornhub.
what a mess I found myself in, having sex with my sister.
Well, the weird thing about him and her, specifically him v. Elizabeth Shue, aside from her being much better at acting, is she doesn't have this like trash East Coast accent that he clearly has, that he's trying his best. Because he'll say like the boss or like, just a lot of that stuff. He just wasn't. And I have a trash New York accent as well.
I mean, yes, I also do. But I think it's a thing. Maybe she just does a better job at covering it up.
Yes, and she never appeared on Melrose Place.
But you remember her in Back to the Future saying, I got to see my wedding dress.
I'm old.
So they hit it off immediately. She's going to the valley. He's like, well, just find. And he's like doing this thing, which is something that creeps me out, which I hate about cabs anyway. He's like, I can find it. And I'm like, no, dude, we're not finding it together. Either you know where the address is or I'm getting in another cab.
Dude, it's awful. And like, back in 1992, like I can kind of understand it, even though like you should know your way around the city if you're given cross streets. But like in 2020, and this has happened like in this year, I've gotten into a cab before the world dried up. And, I get in and it's like, take me to so-and-so. And it's like, oh, sure. How do I get there again? And I'm like, dude, I immediately want to fucking get out of the car.
Yep, absolutely. I don't have time for it.
No, yeah, no. I know. Yeah, Lincoln Center. It's in Cleveland, right?
So Allison comes home. She's got all this paint. She's excited to hang out with Billy, but Billy has brought this girl home, and this is like the main story of this would be the A story, I guess, because it gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. Big time. It's almost like unbalanced. I mean, and you wind up getting this now that everyone's sort of quote unquote introduced, but like there are there are some characters who don't have any time at all. Like, poor Rhonda has almost nothing this episode, for example. But this, I feel like, is the heavy hitter storyline of the episode.
And I don't even understand it really. Allison's really bent out of shape by Billy having a girl over, and it's like you knew this from the start. That he would bring girls over.
Well, I think you're supposed to start to suspect she may be getting feelings for Billy is the idea.
But if you're going to do that, that has to be the end of the episode. You can't still have the fucking, wool over your eyes at the end of the episode of like, oh no, she's still saying, yeah, she's not into him. Not really. No.
Well, you got to drag this shit out, dude. You got 26 episodes to fill or whatever.
Yeah, totally, dude. This is a fucking nighttime soap opera, my friends. We drag things out till they are almost dead already.
Well, I mean, and also Billy's like, it's kind of a tug of war between who's in the wrong here, because in some ways, like, it's totally fine for Billy to bring a girl home, but you kind of got to go in your bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind
fair.
of. That's what you got to do. But also, Allison's like freaking the fuck out, even though this woman even exists, which is creepy.
He's in his bedroom for most of it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
And she's just like creepily putting a glass up against the fucking door.
Dude, yeah, she gets caught right there. And like, he's so dumb, he doesn't even realize like what's going on, because she's right fucking there. And like listening to them.
Are you looking for door water?
Oh, the door water ran out, Allison. You can't get any more.
But it's pretty much what happens, because he opens the door and he's like, oh, Allison, what are you doing here? And then she goes, oh, I was just going to the bathroom. And he's like, oh, okay, very good.
Carry on.
You're just like, dude, clearly she was listening to you mess around with this chick, man. Come on.
And they don't like. And she's like, oh, are you going to use a condom? And he's like, well, of course, Allison, I always use a condom. And it's like, this is not the conversation right now, by the way.
Absolutely not.
I lived with Eric and Chris, and never once did we ever talk about safe sex. It's nobody's business. It's like, dude, you want to fucking roll the dice, enjoy it.
Oh my God, Steve's in there with a lady. Is he using a condom or what? I better put a glass up to the door.
I better put a glass up to the door to see if I can hear a condom being unwrapped.
Oh, hey, Eric, how's it going? What are you listening to?
Door water?
Oh, Steve, I was just going to the bathroom to shower.
Very good.
Then the next morning, I will say, what's her the girlfriend here? Marcy oversteps her bounds when she's
Big
like,
time.
Hey, can I borrow your deodorant, Allison? And I'm like, get the flying fuck out of here.
Is fucked up.
Dude, it's like, oh, absolutely you can, Marcy. It is, you know where I left it? Right out by the pool. And she goes out to get it, and you fucking lock that door.
And a giant net falls on her.
I just wanted a shot of Allison taking the deodorant like Viggo Mortensen with the glasses in Green Book and putting it in the trash.
I mean, like, your options when you crash at someone's place or sleep with somebody, the deodorant options the next morning are whomever you're sleeping with, period.
Yeah.
Or you're not having deodorant that day.
Or
That's
just
it.
Absolutely.
go home.
Yes.
You live in a driving city. No one's going to smell you on public transit.
Yeah, or your new boyfriend's a cab driver. How about get a ride?
There you go.
I got to take you to the deodorant store now. They're going crazy.
Oh, we're taking a cab to deodorant or Ruth, I guess. Okay.
It's too much commitment for Billy.
Well, again, me being in Allison's corner for most of this episode, like she comes home with these fucking cans of paint, and here's this woman. She's like lit all these candles, and there's music on. And she's like, "Oh, hey, Allison, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "Well, I do live here." And she's like, "Oh, well, yeah, sorry. Billy went out to the grocery store. We're going to have dinner or whatever." And then, like, the second he comes home, she's like, "Hey, how about some fucking instead?" And like he leaves the bag of groceries right in the doorway while they go to have sex.
Well, I get where Allison's coming from, but she knew what she was getting into with this guy. That first episode, he was a nightmare.
Exactly. The whole peanut butter conversation was a big problem, and it was a red fucking flag.
Gigantic red flag.
He screams Mimbo. You have to know this is a danger.
Mm-hmm. Every week, it's going to be somebody else who's going to fall in love with her and then break their heart, and then people are going to be like breaking into your house and stuff. You know, it's going to go that way. I also love the Allison will she, won't she go to the paint store? Because they a lot of ink is spilled this episode on her going to the paint store. And I'm like, fucking show it. I want to see her at a paint store.
Oh,
You know, I want to paint the white walls a little whiter.
Mm-hmm.
I better go to the paint store.
And when you see them painting at the end of the episode, she's just kind of picked this like custard yellow.
Yes, it's not a life changer.
No. She does have an awkward crossover with the Jane and Michael storyline, though, because she's like furious about all the fucking. And she goes over to their apartment to be like, "Yeah, boy, Billy and his new girlfriend, it's getting pretty serious, I guess. Wow, this is annoying. By the way, can I sleep here?"
Yeah, the answer is no. I mean, well, actually, Michael is like, thank God, a third person to distract from my horror of being a husband. Like, let's watch a movie. Let's hang out.
But she's only making it worse, though, because she's like, "Oh, boy, Jane, I wish I had everything as great as you and Michael do." And
Yeah,
Jane's
that's a
like,
good point.
Jane's like, "Girl, if I had fucking 10 minutes alone with you right now, you would hear some shit about I asked this dumbass the easiest question in the world and he fucking beefed on it."
I mean, I also need to see, like, for the hell that Allison is saying she's going through, I need to see, like, the room shaking. I need to hear
Yes.
I need to hear
Yes.
Billy trying to sing along to Sade. I need stuff like that.
Call me the boss.
Oh, interesting. My homework's a little late today. Is there anything we could do to figure it out? And she's like, "Oh God, kill me, kill me, kill me."
Billy also has that weird fucking fantasy.
They go to it's like things are going okay with him and her. She's coming on a little strong, and he's okay with it. But then there's your classic Melrose Place pool barbecue thing. And Billy's working the grill, and Marcy is going up to everyone, telling them exactly how he fucks, by the way.
This is really uncomfortable. And you can see all the people, like, you know, all the other tenants being like, "Well, I didn't want to know this, but now that I do, it's information worth storing away."
So, Marcy, what do you do? Well, Billy ate my ass last night. Okay, thank you. That's great news.
But you've got like Rhonda and Sandy like, "Oh my God."
And Billy is hearing all of it, and this is when he does a fantasy where it's Marcy on the Dr. Ruth show.
Wow.
This is like straight up sitcom shit. It's so out of place in this episode.
Looks
Like
like
these shows shouldn't do this.
it looks like the setting from a talk show in the Beetlejuice world.
Yes, it does.
Dearly beloved.
I am Dr. Ruth, and today's show is being hosted straight from hell.
Dr. Ruth definitely fucked around with that little priest dude. That's for sure.
Oh, totally. They're definitely the same height.
She died, right?
No, she's alive, dude. I checked today.
Oh, really?
She's
Yeah.
91 or something.
Not in hell yet.
Today we talk about the sex life of sandworms. Are they getting enough of it? Discuss.
All right, if you want to have sex, what you need to do is draw a door on your wall, open the door, and have sex with whoever comes through. If it's a sandworm, it's a sandworm. If it's a football team, well, it's a football team.
The handbook for the recently laid.
And
Dude, I
I
need to-
cannot stress this enough, okay? When you look at yourself in the mirror, you are getting ready to have sex. You say to yourself 3 times, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up.
Oh, then a condom demon appears and has fun antics.
Those are the sandworms, dude. They're the same shape.
Hey, babe, it's me, the Trojan.
There you go.
Hey, Billy, you gonna wrap it up?
I mean, we got some magnums, but they're not going to fit over some sandworms. I'm going to tell you what.
I would do it at Beetlejuice 2, or is that? I mean, like the world has stopped in general, but I think Beetlejuice 2 might fall through the cracks. But it sounded like it was going to happen.
I think we're going to all be living in the Beetlejuice world at the end of this.
Got it.
thought I just saw a sandworm going outside right now, actually.
That's actually how it feels when you go out like for a walk. It's like you walk out and like it's a bunch of sand, and you come back and it's night somehow. Like what the fuck happened?
I think my house is, it's that disembodied door floating about 10 feet in the air.
I went grocery shopping, and my wife said I was gone for 2 days.
I am experiencing missing time, I will tell you that much.
I mean he has a fantasy about like her just like kind of ruining everything on Dr. Ruth. It's totally useless. It's not funny, fun, or move the plot forward, but it's like I guess they were just like they were looking for any guest star to get this episode going, like I don't know, Dr. Ruth.
All right, we got the list of potential guest stars here for the 2nd episode of a television show nobody knows anything about. Mr. T, Dr. Ruth, that's another good one, maybe.
We've got Dick Butkiss, sure. Any kind of football kind of situation you Melrose kids might find yourselves in.
John Madden said no already.
We got Dr. Ruth's non-union equivalent, Sally Esquire.
So I mean, like obviously things are going way too fast. From she says, "I love you" at some
You
point,
Oh.
douche chill.
and he's
Well, the
like,
thing is,
"Yeah, this
this
has
is-
gotta stop."
It's too early, right? I mean, that's another part of this episode is she's being like too clingy because they just met, basically.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's one thing, like, hey, he's not trying to, and that's the thing is, Billy's not trying to hit it and quit it. He's like, he wants to date her, but like, it's going a little nutso here, I think.
I mean, when they have the confrontation, he's finally like, all right, hey, we got to slow up. I got to talk to you about stuff. Of course, right out here in the public area of Melrose Place.
well, that's only because he goes to Jake, he's like, Jake, what am I supposed to do here? And he's like, I don't know, Billy, maybe tell her what you think about things. He's like, that's fucking crazy.
You know, I came to Shooters to try to get some advice from you, and this is what I get stuck with. Tell the truth. Thanks a lot, Jake.
This shows how deranged Billy is because he orders a beer there and he buys one for Jake and he has like 2 sips of his and he just leaves.
It's crazy, especially like I like being stuck in my house and missing bars very much. I'm like, fucking enjoy it. And Jake's like, hey, am I breaking or are you? I was like, nah, Jake, I think I better take care of this right now. I'm like, no, fucking have a game with Jake, dude. That's all I want.
Totally. Shoot some pool, have a beer.
He was splitting the beer with Peter Boyle. You gotta, buddy up sometimes.
Yeah, the wizard, dude.
You know what I hate about these? Oh no, edited for television. Peter Boyle is edited out of this episode.
Absolutely.
So whatever. Yeah, they have their confrontation by the pool. He's like, "This is going too fast." She does this thing where it's like, "Oh, I always do this." I'm like, "Do you need help, miss?" Like,
Yeah, maybe she'll come back. I mean, I checked. She doesn't come back, but she could theoretically come back in like later Melrose Place and like burn the building down or something.
That'd be nice. I'd like that.
So that's kind of it. I mean, like Allison and Billy kind of make up, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with us, being with each other or whatever. Let's paint our fucking apartment, I guess, a little bit whiter."
Well, and they also, I mean, they push the needle even further toward them getting together because, they're both like, when we have problems, we should be able to come and talk to each other about these problems. And they're like, as friends? Yes, definitely as friends. And I'm like, all right, better luck next week fucking each other's brains out.
Hey, Allison, when you were listening on the door, that do anything for you?
Did you hear what I can do? Did you listen to or talk of all the stuff I do in the bedroom?
Yeah, if you didn't get a chance to talk to her at the barbecue, maybe ask Rhonda or Sandy about some of the details.
That's pretty steamy, man. So that's their thing. Then we finally have the Jake storyline, which I guess is the B plot, sort of, which is Jake kind of just floundering through life, I guess.
I love this storyline. It is so insane, and it's also the side note of this storyline is the government. It just doesn't work.
It does not.
It just doesn't work. The whole thing. Jake has to go to the unemployment office to like fill out a form to pick up a check. He's too dumb to fill it out right.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, he fills out a form. He brings it up to the guy. He had been waiting for a while. And the guy's like, well, you're supposed to fill out the back too, you fucking idiot. Why don't you go sit down, learn how to write, and then take it back to Windows C? And he's just so mad about it that eventually once he gets back to this dude's window, he sees there's a problem with this one other woman who's there trying to collect a check. So he decides, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to assault this government worker right now.
Whoa, buddy! Since when does paper have a back? Huh? You tell me. Who am I supposed to know that?
I've been on unemployment a couple times in my life. It was always online, so I never had to go to the unemployment office. And I understand Jake's frustration here a little bit, but my allegiance to failing bureaucratic agencies is trumped by my hatred for mimbos and leather jackets who can't fucking read. You know what I mean? Like it says the two sides, and then when he's arguing with this unemployment guy who looks like the dude from Rocky Horror Picture Show, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes, he definitely does.
And they cast this guy to be like, look at how disgusting people are that work for the government.
Exactly, and he's like,
Richard O'Brien, by the way.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. And it's like, this woman can't get her check, which sucks, but it's because she changed addresses and it's going to take 2 weeks. He's like, but the check's right there, man. And it's like, well, no, it's not. It's just, that's not how this works.
Well, maybe it'll work if I just grab it from you.
That's the thing, though, is like the check is sitting right there. And that's what he takes off the guy's desk. And he like gives it to the woman. And then the guy comes out and is like, hey, something red tape. And he like that's what he gets in the fight with the dude.
And he gets arrested. And I mean, like, this isn't a misdemeanor. Like, they say later when Kelly, by the way, everybody's Beverly Hills 90210 obligations, I think, ended this episode because, or maybe not, actually.
No, I double checked it. This is it.
Okay, it's like, oh yeah, we're everybody has to be back in this episode, and like Kelly shows up, and Kelly has to bail him out when he gets arrested. I'm like, well, Missy, he was disturbing the peace at the unemployment. No. He assaulted a government agent. He's going away for a little while.
And there was a mention of priors, and she's like, what's that? And they're like, well, that's prior arrests. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to let this high school girlfriend of his, just add another charge.
Exactly.
Wait. My bad boy is a bad boy? No!
Yeah, that's true.
It's just kind of funny because there's like she's talking to this officer at the jail about the bail situation and everything. And when she doesn't know about what priors mean or whatever, this lady's like, turns out your boyfriend has led a colorful life.
Yeah, and can I get your ID, ma'am? If you're trying to bail him out, by the way, like, you're fucking 16, one more charge.
And also, Steve, I had a question right here related to 90210.
Please.
What is Kelly's money situation here? Because her credit card gets turned down for the bail.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that's just sort of a thing where, like, it was max. She probably has a max limit. $1,000 is a lot more than it is now. She's rich. She's totally rich.
Well, I think it's also like a coded joke of women be shopping.
Oh, right. Yeah, she bought too much lipstick.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. That's why you can't bail out the bad boy.
And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, thanks for bailing me out, you jerk." And like he's making this scene and much like at the end of last episode of Beverly Hills 90210, if I'm in a police station with my 16-year-old girlfriend, I'm acting like there's a bomb in the room and I just need to get out of here. Like, well, thank you very much. Why don't we leave very quietly? Let's look at the ground while we do that.
Hello, neighbor.
It's my niece.
Yeah, I love that when he goes back to her house later to apologize.
Her house, by the way, we should talk about a little bit because
Yes,
you see the
let's do it.
exterior here. And I love Kelly Taylor's house. It is the perfect marriage of a spaceship and a boat that I've ever seen. It's this bizarre 90s architecture that I cannot get enough of.
It looks pretty badass. And he comes back like to throw money in her face, basically.
Well, he earlier in the episode, he goes up to David and Donna have to be in this episode for no reason, and they're
This
like,
is the dumbest thing of all time.
they're like, oh, let's go some other place. Uh-oh, here comes Jake. Aaron, can I leave now? Are we good? I have movie plans later. Am I done?
What I assumed this was, by the way, was Donna and David are there with her, but Brian Austin Green is hilariously holding a big thing of flowers. I had assumed, because at the beginning of this episode, Kelly goes to Shooters and she tells Sandy that she was just dropping by to let Jake know that her mother had her baby.
That's right.
So I assumed it was a thing where the 90210 gang was just heading to the hospital to see the baby.
Yeah, you got to see the baby.
And yeah, exactly. And David is just stuck holding these flowers while Steve Sanders goes to a fucking sexy barbecue.
And then, like, Jake, in the scummiest move of all time, is like, hey, I never asked you to bail me out for $1,000. Here's $200. I'll get you the rest later, but stay out of my business. And I'm like, dude, you can only pull that move if you can pay them back in full.
Exactly,
You
because
have
you
no
can't-
high horse here, sir.
No, and you can't be using like tell-off language.
He hands her an envelope, and it's just full of like different little IOUs.
I mean, what he should be doing is telling her off and then not paying her back. I mean,
That's-
she needs to learn a lesson here.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me she's not seeing the rest of that money.
No.
I was gonna say, the outside of Kelly's house is very nice, but what's also nice to see is the outside of what was the first Johnny Rockets.
Dude, yeah, what is that? There is a couple of great fucking LA exteriors here. The first one, though, I was like, man, all these neon lights. Boy, I miss being outside. I'm thinking about like the great fucking montages and like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something. And then I realized, I was like, oh, wait, that first one's just a Johnny Rockets. Okay.
When I get out of here, I'm gonna go listen to those guys sing about being happy and making burgers again.
Man, I fucking hated that restaurant.
Never
It's
been.
awful. You're not missing a thing.
Yeah.
Not good.
So whatever, like, they kind of go, it's more will they, won't they? And he's like, I'm too old for you. And even in the Billy scene, he's like, well, Billy, I'm just not good at taking my own advice, I guess. I'm just a weird drifter and like, just, I don't know, will I fuck this 16-year-old girl? Will I not? I don't know. I can't make that decision, man.
Yeah, will I fuck a 16-year-old? Will I kill the president? I don't know. I don't know what goes on day to day.
Hey, Billy, let me ask you something, neighbor to neighbor. You think I could ever take a life? Follow-up question. If you think I could, do you think I already have?
I mean, this guy can't even go to the fucking unemployment office without getting arrested. Like, this guy is...
Third question, is the canyon a good spot to like dump them bodies or what?
Right
You're a
into the
taxi
mailbag.
driver.
What if I brought Donna and Kelly and killed them both? It's me, Jake, a cool, sexy dude. Like, yeah, you're good. Like, he's like Ted Bundy good looking. I don't trust this guy at all. Like, this loner
guy-
horse shit.
He's definitely a murderer of some kind. Now, I still have never seen Luke Perry in 90210. Is he also a type of drifter murderer?
No, he's a poor little, what you'll call a poor little rich boy, which I think is actually the exact episode, a little tease for Monday's episode. It's pretty much Poor Little Rich Boy, the episode.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. for that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Sandy like offers him some, like, they're trying to do something with them. Like, they can't figure out what to do with Sandy at all because she eventually doesn't matter. But it's like, I don't know, maybe she will or won't with Jake because they used to go out or whatever. And again, like, how old are any of these people? Because it seems like quote unquote ancient history. Like, are we talking 3 months ago, 10 years?
I think you're supposed to assume, like, man, life in LA just goes so fast, man, that, like, yeah, their long and storied relationship started like 2 months ago.
Oh, dude, what if Jake has been living at Melrose Place since 1981? He got there during the Coke boom. He rode that shit out.
I'm the only one of you assholes who has met Mr. J in person, okay?
You
I
know,
helped to build the place.
you used to be able to take a hot shower and not have, when somebody flushed the toilet, it just kept on being a hot shower.
Oh, Mike, you're getting pizza from Enzo's, man. I remember when that was $6 a pie. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Gonna go date a 16-year-old girl.
There's a photo of Jake at the Melrose Place ball from 1922.
Oh, he's just totally like, he's like in a sort of, he's like hooking up, like kind of on and off with the lady in the bathtub, kind of, sort of.
Exactly. That's why he complains about the plumbing to Michael. Because it's there's the old lady keeps coming out of the faucet.
Well, yeah, look, she looks like rotten meat now, but she used to be a dime, I'm telling you.
Why, of course, Mr. Hanson. You've always been here.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So I mean, that's kind of like he goes to her house at the end, and it's like, I just want to be a good friend to you. Could we be good friends? I was like, yeah, we can, Jake. And she like does this thing. It's like, I guess I was in the wrong too. No, you weren't. You're 16, and B, you bailed him out of jail. And then he's like, well, let's be friends and just ride out to the beach together. Like, wrong,
dude. This is the fucking serial killer line of a lifetime because he's like, hey, 16-year-old girl. Would you like to ride on my motorcycle out to the beach right now? And by the beach, I mean the beach that's connected to the fucking Pacific Ocean. And oh, by the way, just a sweet cherry on top, it's a full moon out tonight.
A lot of monsters might be out. It's fucked up. And then there's also a little capper with Michael's the doctor, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Him and Jake like trying to fix the plumbing together, and they sort of like they apologize to each other, but then he's trying to use, now, first of all, this doctor shouldn't be fucking with the plumbing anyway, but he's trying to cut a pipe with a saw, and Jake says, you can't cut that with that. You need a sharper saw. I got one in my unit I use for cutting bones. I'll bring it out.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to need a saw that goes right through a spinal column.
No problem, Jake. By the way, that's not your real name. Oh, absolutely not.
Killing kids is easier because the bones aren't as hard yet,
Snap like twigs, they do.
Oh, anyway, I'll help you fix the plumbing that I complained about.
It just hit all these rotting corpses in Jake's, because we never see the inside of Jake's room, by the way. We don't know what's going on in there. He does not
we
have a
haven't been
roommate.
let in yet.
Lampshades made out of skin.
Allison goes in one day to like borrow some sugar. There's fucking chicken feathers all over the floor.
Hey, sorry, man. I don't need a roommate because I pay $75 a month. I've got the old 82 rate. Mr. J and I go way back.
It's just full of mannequins. Fucking mannequins everywhere.
Oh, you might be wondering where Mr. J is. Well, he's in here. He's my living room chair. It's just a skeleton couch.
I love it. I would love to see that. It'd be great to really just go all the way. You're making this guy bad enough.
That's a real bad, bad boys. Ted Bundy was the baddest of the boys.
It's true.
He should have been the third with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Someone Photoshop that, please.
Bad boys for the end of your life.
So that's kind of, yeah, I mean, and like, he rides off with Kelly, and I mean, like, they're going to remain quote unquote friends, but I don't have any 16-year-old friends, and nor should I, because I'm an adult man, and that's how that shit goes.
Dude, Steve, if we were hanging out one time and you were like, oh, here's my friend, and it was just like a 16-year-old kid, I would have to pull you aside immediately and be like, dude,
what is happening?
Dude, can I come down to the beach too?
Oh, Eric, you were always the best with the sledge.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of it. That's the end of the 90210 sort of tie-in here. I don't know if there's any ones that go on later. I guess we'll find out when we do all fucking 10 seasons of this through this quarantine.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, as they say. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is that's where we are. This has been a week, yet another week of quarantine eps. You can check out. There's a ton of great stuff on our Patreon on patreon.com/WeHateMovies. We will be doing The Thing this month as a Patreon exclusive episode. We were doing Animation Damnation on Gumby coming up.
There's going to be a Gleep glossary on Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, this is another man that failed to defeat a Phantom Menace. So check it out.
Tons of great stuff. We've got the entirety of all, and if you're binging because you're totally quarantined, you can check out our recaps on The Mandalorian and Picard. All recaps for both shows are up on our Patreon feed right this second. So that's going to do it. Thank you all. I have been Steven Sadak.
Andrew Jupin.
Eric Siska.
Chris Gavin.
Take it easy and remain indoors.
That was a HeadGum podcast.